Variables. Variables in Java. The variable is a basic unit for a program in a Java program. Variables are defined by combination of an identifier, its type, and an optional part initializer. All the variables have a scope which defines the visibility and lifetime of a variable. Now we are going to see about declaring a variable, dynamic initialization of variable, scope and lifetime of variable. Declaring a variable. In Java, all the variables which you are using must be declared before using. The basic syntax for a variable declaration is type identifier is equal to value, comma, identifier is equal to value, etc. say ended by a semicolon. Here we can see some square brackets. It means that these portions are optional. A simple declaration will be like this: type identifier semicolon. These portions are optional, and this equal to value is used to initialize this identifier, first identifier. If you have another identifier, you can include by putting a comma followed by this identifier is equal to value. Again, this portion is optional. Here this type specifies Java's data type. Identifier is the name of the variable, and we can initialize the variable by specifying a value, giving a value like this equal to value. You can initialize the variable. To declare more than one variable, we use comma followed by that identifier name and value. Some examples are given. First one is int a comma b comma c. This one declares three integer variables a, b and c. Just declaration is there. Second one, int d is equal to 3 comma e comma f is equal to 5. Here also it declares three integer type variables, and d is assigned 3 and f is assigned 5, and e just declaration. Next one, byte z is equal to 22. A byte type variable z is assigned 22. Next one, double type variable pi is assigned 3.14159. And char type variable x is initialized with the value x. Dynamic initialization. Java allows the variables to be initialized dynamically using an expression. From this example, we can see that this portion is the dynamic initialization of variable. Class dyneInt, then opening braces, this class ends here, then main method opening braces, and this main method ends here. This one is initialization during declaration. Double a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 4. Now we can see that c is dynamically initialized. Double c is equal to math is a class, math dot sqrt of a into a plus b into b, that is math dot sqrt of a square plus b square, and the value is displayed, and this portion is called as dynamic initialization. Initializing at the place where we are using, declaring and initializing at the place where we are using, it is called as dynamic initialization. The above program we can see that a, b and c three variables are used, and a and b are initialized by constants, that is a and b are initialized by 3 and 4. Then c is initialized dynamically. You can see that c is initialized dynamic. This line initializes c dynamically. The next portion is scope and lifetime of variable. Java allows variables to be declared within any block. We can declare the variables in any blocks in Java. What is a block? A block begins with an opening curly brace and ends by a closing curly brace. Here we can say that it's a program. So this is a block. If x is equal to 0, opening braces, closing braces, this is a block. And this main method, after main method we have an opening braces corresponding closing braces, this is also a block. And class scope, opening braces, closing braces, this is also again another block. So a block begins with an opening curly brace and ends with a closing curly brace. A block defines a scope. Okay, so within a block there is a scope. What is meant by scope? A scope determines what objects are visible to other parts of the program. The scope will tell which parts are visible to other parts of the program and which parts are not visible to other parts of the program. It also defines the lifetime of the object. The scope also defines the lifetime of the object. The scope specifies which objects are visible, and as well as the scope specifies the lifetime of the object. There are two major scopes. One is class and the other one is method. So class scope means, so class opens a class name scope itself here. So this is a scope, a class scope. From this portion to this portion is a class scope. And method scope, here we have main method. Method scope begins here and ends here. And block, so this is also another block. So this is also another block. So three blocks are here in this program. So the scope defined by a method begins with opening curly braces within a method. As a rule, variables declared inside a scope are not visible to the code that is defined outside that scope. So if a variable is defined within a scope, that so this is a scope, this variable is declared within the scope, so this variable is visible only within this block, okay, within this scope. So this variable y, here we have declared the variable y within the scope, int y is equal to 20. So this variable is visible, or this variable, the lifetime of the variable is only within this scope. Then the purpose of scope is we are localizing a variable and protecting it from unauthorized access or modifying. So if you are declaring a variable within a scope, that means we are protecting it and from unauthorized access from outside that scope or block. So the scope provides a way for encapsulation. Encapsulation is provided by means of scope. Scopes can be nested, that is, one scope can be within another scope. For example, here we can see that, so one scope starts here and the other scope starts here. So this scope is within this scope. Okay, this block is within this block. So scopes can be nested. The outer scope encloses the inner scope. We can say that outer scope encloses the inner scope. So this is the outer scope and this is the inner scope. The outer scope encloses the inner scope. That is, inner scope is within the outer scope. That means the objects declared in the outer scope will be visible to the code within the inner scope. That is, the variables declared in the outer scope will be visible within the inner scope. Again, we can say that the variables declared in the outer scope can be accessed from the inner scope, accessed within the inner scope. That is, so in this example, int x is equal to 10. So x is defined in the outer scope. And here if x is equal to 10, it enters into another block. This is the inner scope. Here we are declaring a variable y which is initialized with the value 20, and the variables declared in the outer scope is visible within the inner scope. So this line shows that we are printing the value of x and y. Though x is declared in the outer scope, the value of x is visible within the inner scope. That's why when you are printing as x is equal to y into 2, the value of y, that is 20, multiplied by 2 is assigned to x. It can be asked. This is valid and it will not raise any error. The reason is the variables declared in the outer scope can be accessed within the inner scope. This we can see by the example later. The reverse is not true. That means the variables which you are declaring in the inner scope cannot be access outside this scope. So here we can see that this variable y is declared in the inner scope. This one cannot be accessed outside. When you are trying to execute this line y is equal to 100, it will raise an error. The reason is the scope of y is only within this inner block or inner scope. Now we will see this example by executing a program, same program. So this is the program, scope, same program. So this area is the inner scope and this area is the outer scope. The first condition what we saw is the variables declared in the outer scope is visible within the inner scope. That is, the variable declared in the outer scope x is accessed in the inner scope. So we are assuming the value 10 and we are printing the value of x here. Okay, we are printing the value of x here. It is valid. That is, x is accessible within this block as well as the inner block. Now we will execute this program. Now we can see that, so we have given the line x is equal x and y and printing the value of x and y here. So we can get the value displayed here, x and y, x 10, 20, but we have assigned the value for variable x in the outer scope and the variable x is also declared in the outer scope. Okay, in this example we have, so first case is over, and the other way, that is the variables declared within the inner scope cannot be accessed in the outer scope, from the outer scope. That means the variable y declared in the inner scope is visible only within the inner scope. If you are trying to access, I am removing the comments here. Okay, now I am trying to access the variable y which is declared in the inner scope. It will raise an error. Okay, now I will check that. I am saving the program. Now I am compiling, executing the program. Now we can see that, see, at line number 17, that is y is equal to 100, cannot find symbol, variable y, location, class scope. That is, these lines comes under in class scope. Okay, so the variable y is not declared. That means the variable y is declared within this inner scope and it is not visible to the outer scope. Okay, only if you are blocking this, commenting this program will get executed. So objects declared with the inner scope will not be visible outside. If you are declaring something in the inner scope, it will not be visible outside. You are declaring y in the inner scope, it will not be available outside. That's why we got an error. So this is explanation. Variable x is declared in the start of main method. This is one. This is the case. Now within the if block y is declared, we are declaring y within this if block, that is the inner scope. Since the block defines the scope, y is only visible to other code within the block. So this y is visible only within this block, for the code within this block. This is why outside this block the line y is commented. We have commented the line y here because this y is visible only to this portion of code. Within the if block, x can be used because the code within a block has access to variables declared by the enclosing scope. For this scope, this one is the enclosing scope. So this one can access this scope, can access this scope. Enclosing scope can be accessed. That's why x is used here. So in if block, x can be accessed. Then the next point is variables are created when their scope is entered and destroyed when their scope is left. That means when this scope is entered here, the variable is created, and outside this scope the created variable is destroyed. Variables are created when the scope is entered and destroyed when the scope is left. This means the variable will not hold its value once it has gone out of the scope. Variables declared within a method will not hold their values between calls to that method. The lifetime of a variable is confined to its scope. That is, the variable defined within a scope is visible only within that scope. If the variable declaration includes an initializer, then that variable will be reinitialized each time the block in which it is initialized. We are going to see this example. If you are declaring a variable which includes an initializer within a block, that variable will be reinitialized each time the block. Whenever that control transfers into that block, the reinitialization takes place. Here we can see by an example. In this example, class lifetime, public static void main. So this is class scope. Within main, you're declaring a variable x. X is equal to 0. A loop begins here. X is equal to 0. X less than 3. So this means this loop will be executed 3 times for the value x is equal to 0, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2. See here, the first line is int y is equal to -1. So whenever the control transfers to this loop, this reinitialization takes place. Now we are printing the value system.out.println y will print the value -1. Again y is assigned as 100. Then again will print the value 100. So whenever the control comes back to this loop, 3 times this loop will be executed. So again and again y will be -1 and will be printed. Y is equal to 100 and it will be printed. We can see this example by executing. So this is the program for this. I am saving the program, executing. Okay, now we can see that y is equal to -1, y is now 100, y is equal to 100. It is printing. The point here is, so we have included an initializing statement at the beginning of a loop. So whenever the loop is entered, this initialization will takes place. It will be initialized each time the block is entered. Thank you.